Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa. I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I live in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is just a little bit north of the Boston area. And today you can see that I'm in a different location. So it has been so hot and humid that I decided today to come up to Sophia's area. She has the third floor. She's got a great area here, has her own bathroom, so it's nice up here, and this is where the air conditioning is in the house. So I decided to come up here today and record because it's just much too hot and humid downstairs on the other two floors of the house. The other piece that may look different, I really don't know how this is going to all work out, but I usually record on my telephone and then I upload it, and we have an old PC that I use and I have always used the Movie Maker program to edit the podcast. Yesterday I went and pulled out that old PC and the old laptop to see if it worked. I knew that it was on its last legs. The battery was getting extremely hot every time and it just wouldn't always turn on correctly. Well, yesterday when I went to even turn it on, didn't even want to do it. Now this laptop is probably maybe 12, 13 years old, so it's been on its last legs for a long time. But I've kept using it because I know how to use the Movie Maker program. And you can't get that program anymore. It's not supported. You can't download it. So this means that now I have to use my husband's laptop, which is a fantastic laptop. But I'm going to try to use the Adobe Premiere Pro video editing program. He has to learn it anyway for editing drone videos, and he just hasn't gotten around to it, so I'm going to have to do it. So if this video actually gets up and loads, I will be very, very happy. So it may look different. I tried to get the same music, and I'm going to try to do it basically the same way, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There might be a little bit of a learning curve on the next podcaster or two or three. So bear with me as we go through this. Otherwise, today we're going to do a few things. We'll look at some finished objects. I have a couple. And we'll look at some works in progress. I'm going to highlight a very special pattern today by a designer. And then we're going to talk about a swap. I know we mentioned that the last time, so I'm going to talk more about that this time. And then I'll talk about some chatter, about some things that have been going on. So let's get started. Objects. Well, the first one I'm wearing, I'm probably just blending right into the back green color here, but I finished my sew faded sweater. So here it is. I'll stand up just a little bit so you can see how it started out with the dark green, faded into the lighter, and then into the blue and the red, and then the yellow at the end. And then I did the same along the sleeves, which I decided to do 3/4, and that's actually very, very nice fitting on me. It's perfect. I'm really happy with it. I've been getting tons of compliments when I wear it. You know, the usual, wait, you made that sweater? Like, yeah, sure, I made that sweater. Oh my gosh, you made that sweater. So, yeah. So I have a couple of friends were like, oh, I really like that. Are you going to make one for me? And I'm like, yep, nope, you can make your own. I'll show you how to knit and you can make your own. But again, this was knit in the Treliz yarn that I so incredibly won from these. And it's just gorgeous. It's a single ply, and it's just wonderful to work with. She put together the kits for it, so all these colors she put together, and so it worked really, really well. I'm really pleased with it, and it fits just beautifully. It's exactly what I had hoped for, and I would actually, and I've actually read this in other places, but I could actually use this pattern, and it's by Drea Knits. So it's by Andrea Mowry, the sew faded sweater, and I would use this pattern again. I wouldn't necessarily, I might not necessarily fade, but the pattern works really well for me, and I've heard this from other people as well. It's a really easy pattern to do. There's not a lot of shaping, so it's actually quite quite enjoyable knit, so I would highly recommend it, whether you're going to fade or not. I think it's a great pattern. I probably will knit it again. It's certainly great for a nice light summer knit, which boy do we need right now. So I'm really super happy with this. This is great. This is sweater number 3, I think, this year so far. Yep, 3 or 4, 3. I think it's 3. Keep me honest there. I think it's 3. So yeah, and I'll talk about my next sweater that I have on the go in a little bit. The second project that I finished, I had shown you this last time. This is the Land of the Midnight Sun, and this is by Busy Mama, and this is really beautiful. It came out gorgeous. It's not blocked yet. So this is the project that I used, the Pluta Lopes, the unspun. Basically yarn, but it's almost fiber. You could spin with it if you really wanted to. And then I used some other some regular yarn in between here from Foster Sheep Farm as the accent pieces. It came out beautifully. It's way too hot for today, of course, because this is Icelandic Plutalopi, but so it's very warm. But again, it's not blocked yet, but it's just a really beautiful pattern. And once it blocks out, it's going to be a little bit bigger than this, but this is going to be great for the winter. I'm very pleased. I love this pattern, and I actually think it was a really great combination, great pattern for the Plutalopi, because as I said, it's just knitting just in stockinette, which is really perfect for the Plutalopi, because you're not manipulating the yarn too much, so you have minimal options of breakage there for it. So it's beautiful. So this is going in the to be blocked pile. And then the third piece that I finished, or the third pair that I finished, is a little pair of shorty socks, which are super cute. I love these. Aren't these cute? So I have 2 of them. And these are from the Summer Shorties Sock Club by by Nordic Stitches. And are these super cute? I love them. So this is actually from the from the Summer Shorties Sock Club that I gave away last time. You can see it's a great pattern. She has 1, 2, 3. I think 3. I think there's actually 4 patterns in here for a little summer shorty socks, so they're really quick and easy to knit. I've actually never done shorty socks. I always, I always keep going up as for a regular sock. So this was like, I'm already done with one, and I can start the next one. So I'm really pleased with these. This is some West Yorkshire spinners, and it's just your basic sock yarn, but it's super comfortable. It's super cute. And this is I think this is the beachfront actual pattern. So they all have a little bit of a lace pattern on the top, but really easy. And I use the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which I always do because it really fits me well. So I'm very pleased with all of those projects. And that's all I finished. So that's enough. All right, so let's move on to some works in progress. What have I been working on? Let's see, got a table full of things here, what to choose first. I think I'll do this one first. This is, what I'm going to show you is the Longbourn shawl, and that is by Kay Jones with the Bakery Bears. This is a pattern, I think she came out with this a while back, maybe it was last summer, I don't remember, but we've had it for a little bit of a while. And Sophia actually purchased this pattern. She was actually going to knit it, and she got some beautiful yarn from Kayleen from Little Bean Crochet, who is a dyer local to us here in Marblehead, and she makes gorgeous yarns. So this is the color that Sophia chose for her main color of the shawl. The shawl has a main body, and then it has this beautiful cable applied edging that goes on it. It's going to be beautiful. And this is the color that she chose for the edging. The pattern has some lovely little kind of cable stars in it as highlights in the pattern, and they're great to do. But we just decided, Sophia started the pattern and wasn't getting very far with it, and then so she basically kind of asked me if I would do that. And the deal is that I'll do the body, the main part of it, and then she's going to do the applied border with the cabling on it. She's really good at that, and it just will come out, I'm sure it will come out gorgeous. So I'm going to give her some motivation if I do the first part of it. So it will be kind of a combo knit. And so what I've been doing instead of doing a little cable stitch is putting beads in. So you can see here that I have these sparkly little, just very, just plain clear beads, and they're going to go all the way. They're in this pattern. The pattern has a V section, so 2 plain sections on the side and then 1 in the middle, and then you're going to have the crescent will have the cable edging. But everywhere where you would normally be doing these little cable crosses, I've just put beads in instead, and I think it's great. Beads are interesting. They make the project a little bit heavier. You don't really think about that, but it does make it a little bit heavier. So, you know, you want to remember this. This is just going to be, it's just going to have a little bit of a weight around you when you add beads to it. But they're beautiful. These will just kind of sparkle in the light. And what I also did is I added a little video, probably at the end somewhere, that I showed you how I put the beads on, because I know some people don't know how to do that, or yeah, just have some questions about it. I do not string all the beads on the yarn ahead of time at all. So I just use a little tool that I have to put them on, and I think it's very easy actually, and it's again one of those nice things where people are like, how did you do that? Did the beads come with the yarn already? And nope, you just add them on it as an accent. But it's a really pretty thing to do, just to kind of change up a pattern maybe that you've done before. You know, and beads come in multi-colors. So it's really pretty. This is, did I leave a little tool out here? Maybe. No, I didn't. I showed it in the video. But I have a little tiny tool that you actually use to pick up the stitch and put the bead on it. You can also use a really tiny thin crochet hook to do the same thing that I show you in the little video. The one thing that you do want to remember is when you're purchasing beads for a pattern, if you're going to use the method that I'm showing you, or using a very tiny little crochet hook, because it's the same idea. You just want to make sure that you get beads with the hole big enough to go through that crochet hook. Beads come in all different millimeter sizes for the inside, and you just want to make sure. You know, you need to make a balance. You don't need a bead that's huge, unless you want a bead that's huge, but you also can't use a bead that's too small that won't go over the tip of the crochet hook or the implement that you're using to actually put that to place the bead on the yarn. And you know, ask me why I know that. It has happened. And the other thing too is make sure that you buy enough beads. I have often bought beads, you know, sometimes they come in those long plastic tubes just at Michael's or at any of the craft stores, and what will happen is that I would say probably maybe 70% of those beads are usable in the way that I do it, and I always will come across beads where it just won't go through, and you're like, oh, I gotta put that. So I always make sure to buy more beads than I think I'm going to need, because inevitably some will not get through. It's just, you know, sometimes they put those together and they're just kind of throwing beads together into one. They should be the same, but I have found that they aren't always in the same, just when you're getting them kind of like at a craft store. But anyway, just something to keep in mind. I'm really enjoying this project. It's very lovely. The yarn is just lovely to work with. I love the color of it, and it's just very intuitive. Again, once you know what you're doing, all you basically need to do is just count the rows and make sure that you have enough rows of the beading before you're going to bind off and get ready for the edging. But there's really not, you know, there's a chart, but once you know what you're doing, you don't really need to follow the chart. You know exactly what you're doing to make your increases on each row, and so I'm very much enjoying this pattern. I'm glad we picked it up. As I said, we've had it for a while, and this yarn has just been sitting there taunting both of us. And also, I'm glad I picked this up. This is a really nice light yarn and a great project for the summer heat, which we are experiencing. So that's my first project. The second project that I want to mention is a test knit that I'm doing. I just started this a couple of days ago. I'm really excited about it. They're going to be called the ADIGE socks. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Mina, but they're by Mina Sorvala. And she is Finn Frost on Instagram and on Ravelry, and she has a knitting podcast as well, which is really special. I'll add the name of it down here, but it's just she's just very calm, and she lives in Finland, so the scenery is beautiful. She does a lot of knitting outside, and even in the wintertime she'll go out and do hikes and bring her knitting along with her. But she designs, she designs lots of things, and so she put out a call for test knitters just this week, and so I jumped at the chance, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm going to show you a little bit of it. So it's going to be so pretty. This pair of socks is a top down with a heel flap, so you know this is not what I usually do, which is actually why I decided to see if I could become a test knitter for it, because I'm trying to expand a little bit. Again, it's not what I always do. I usually do toe up socks with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but I'm trying to expand my horizons, and I'm willing to do it. And the pattern is written for magic loop, so that works out great for me. But it's just this super. Let me show you. I'm doing it in this very dark yarn. I'm just going to show you. It's got this. It's going to have this beautiful lace pattern in the front, so it starts all the way at the cup with this beautiful lace pattern, and the back has the ribbing on it. It's right from the top all the way down to the heel flap. So this is really, it's going to be beautiful. Again, this is very, very dark yarn, but I actually think that it is going to be very, very elegant. These will be winter socks, of course, for me, so I'll be able to wear these to work. They'll be really, really beautiful. I'm using some yarn. I actually have to, I don't really remember. I have had this in my stash, so I need to see if I can figure out what it is. It's a fingering weight sock yarn. So, but it's super elegant, and I thought it would be really nice for this particular pattern. I'll let you know when it comes out and when the test knitting is done and it's ready for purchase. But it's super beautiful. I'm pretty excited about the opportunity to do this for Mina. So I'm really happy with that. Let's see. Another project that I thought I would talk about as well. I'll grab them here. These are finished, but I figure it's a whip because I'm going to keep on keeping on with these. So my friend Sarah Lozzi on Instagram and on Ravelry, she recently had a nephew who was had to be in the NICU over here at Salem Hospital. I'm pointing, it's right over there in Salem Hospital. And so she decided to start making some preemie hats because she found out, she was asking that when she was visiting, she was asking, and the hospital said they are in desperate need of these preemie hats. People just don't think about it, and they really need it. And for me, there's two things with this. Sophia was born in Salem Hospital almost 24 years ago now, so of course Salem Hospital is local to me, and it holds a special place in my heart. Sophia had to go up to the NICU when she was first born because she was a C-section, and they always bring the C-section babies up to the NICU just for overnight to make sure that everything is okay, or they did at that time. So she spent the first night there, and although she was full term, she was not early or preemie. And then the second is that a very dear friend of mine, how many years ago? I think 6 years ago now. I think I just saw that on Instagram. I can't believe it's 6 years ago. She's a very dear friend of mine, and someone I used to work with, and she had a preemie baby, and he was very premature. We were with her the day she went into labor, and it was a very intense situation. We were so concerned for her. We were concerned for the baby, and it was just a crazy time. Ryan was actually very premature, and so he spent a lot of time in the hospital before him, but I spent a lot of time knitting up preemie hats at that time. And he just had his birthday. So all these things have kind of come together. And Sarah is actually wanted to put out a call to knit some preemie hats for the Salem Hospital. And so I said, of course, I would love to do this. And then our friend Lydia, of course, Oloops, Lydia also got on board, and she said she would love to do it, and she would love to host it in her Ravelry group on the Oloops Ravelry group. So if you go over there, there's a couple of threads. There's one finished object thread, and then there's a thread for chatter. There's a listing of different preemie hat patterns that you can use, and Lydia's going to be collecting them. And I know there's a bunch of us already knitting them up. And we're going to send them all out to Lydia by August 1st, and then she's going to package them up and send them back for Sarah to give to bring over to the Salem Hospital. But I love this. This is just something, I'll just keep on doing this because it's great, and it's not only is it something that is really quick and easy to do, but it's going to have a great use. And my friend, as I said, my friend who had the premature baby, she told me she still has those little hats, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it just warmed my heart. But yeah, that you know that if you have a preemie baby, you're really going to treasure these, because someone took the time to make them for your little baby to keep their heads warm, and they need to have these, because when they're that premature, their body hasn't gotten to the point of being able to regulate their body temperature, and they really just lose heat, and so they really need to have something on their heads to help keep them warm. So anyway, I've done a bunch of them. I love how they look together here, but I have this beautiful cotton yarn that I picked up, and I think I picked it up at the local swap table actually, and so this is beautiful, perfect cotton yarn. Throw it in the wash, dryer, whatever, no worries. This is some superwash. Again, so you don't have to worry about throwing it in the washing machine at all if necessary. And then this is some beautiful DK superwash that I actually won from Victoria Knits podcast. So yes, so this is really lovely. I love these colors, and I'm just using them up, and it's really beautiful. So I have I have 5 down, and I'm just going to keep on going. So this is a work in progress. I'm also using the pattern called Top Down Preemie Hats, and this is by CC Allman. So yep, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I'll link that. I'll put some show notes in Ravelry this time around, especially because I'm not quite sure how this is all going to turn out in the editing process. But this is a this actually is a little top-down pattern, so you just start out small and then move down here. It's really super easy to she has it set up so she has it in, I think, 4 or 5 different sizes. That's why these are different sizes. This is for a larger, smaller, and then this is a medium size because it was the DK weight. So yeah, so this is a really great pattern. So I'm super pleased with this. So if anybody wants to get on board, head on over to the O-Loops Ravelry group and take a look at the patterns and what we've been doing so far. So that's really exciting. I'm really happy to be doing that. And my last work in progress that I will show you is my new sweater cast on. So this dare I say it, will this be my my Rhinebeck sweater? Probably. I'm going to see if I can get this done. This is super interesting. This is called the Belmont Sweater, and it's actually a free pattern from Blacker Yarn. So you can actually go onto their website or look it up in Ravelry, and the pattern is right there, and you can just download it. The interesting piece about this is that it's full of cables, so if you need some practice with cables, this is great. But the interesting thing is that the piece starts out knitted flat. It's knitted flat because you're doing cables, but it starts out from the one side, so it starts out from here, from your cuff, and it goes all the way up, and it comes up here, it opens up for the neck, and you add in cables for the front and the back, and it then comes over, you bring it back together, and you knit all the way down and decrease down to the second wrist. And then, once that piece is done, then you pick up stitches on the bust line and you knit down, so then it's just stockinette down. Super interesting. Go look at the pattern. But here it is started. This is it here. So I would say this is an advanced cable pattern. This is not for the faint of heart doing cables, because you're starting out with the cable, all these different cables, and then you're increasing, and then you're adding another group of cables, and then you're increasing and adding another group of cables, and then you're going to be opening up this part for the neck at some point. So this starts down, this is starting down here, and as you can see, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and come all the way up and then open and down. It works out pretty quickly, actually. I think the cables are a 6-row repeat, so it goes pretty quickly, and I think I forget, is it 20 rows until you start opening up and adding adding the new cables over, but it's super pretty. And this is just lovely, some lovely yarn that I might have it. nope, this is just as bad as Dan. Lost the ball band. I have the tons of the yarn, so I'll put the name of it in here. But yeah, this is very, very beautiful. It's very, very soft, and it is fingering cables and fingering yarn. Why do I do this to myself? But it's actually coming out just beautifully. So it has the cables on the side, and then it has this the two-pronged cable here in the middle. This will go all the way up, and this is where you're going to split for the neck, and then come back together again, and then this goes all the way down the center of the center of your arm on the other end. It just is you're gonna just sew it up and go from there. So I'm really enjoying this. So we'll see how far I get with it. I'm not I'm not panicked about getting it done for Rhinebeck, but it's going pretty quickly. And once you get all of the cable piece done, then it's really just stocking it in the round to the bottom. So we'll see. I have plenty of time. But you'll see, I'm really enjoying it, so I highly recommend it. It's a really interesting pattern. Again, if you want some cable challenges, this is the pattern. This is the pattern. But again, I recommend it. I've enjoyed it so far. It's made sense. And once I figured it out, you do have to kind of think about what you're doing and make sure that you understand how the chart works and the repeats. But once I got that, and there are a lot of pictures on the pattern page as well on Ravelry, so that really helped for me to actually look and see what was happening. Then I understood what was going on. So you kind of need to have that visual there to understand what the chart is. But it's doable. It's doable. There's nothing fancy about this, but it does take a little bit if you're interested in making that next leaf in cables. It's a great pattern for it. All right, and then the last piece is just my bust knitting right now. Once I cast off those shorty socks, I didn't cast on a new pair of socks yet. I will. I just thought I would change it up a little bit, and I'm just doing. This is just called the Pembroke shawl, and it's just a one skein shawl, and it's super easy. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it just starts out at a point and goes all the way to another point. The rows get longer as you go, so it's similar in construction to the Hitchhiker by Martina Bem. There's no teeth on it at all, so it's very similar to that, and it's just back and forth. So it's just knitting back and forth. So it comes out in garter stitch, but it's really pretty. I'm using 6 and 7 fiber, which is just beautiful. The colors are gorgeous. I think this has cashmere in it, and it was a one of a kind that she did, and it's just it's beautiful. It's going to be super soft, super hot right now, but super soft for the winter to throw around your neck. It's just really beautiful. I'm really loving the way the striping is coming out on this. So yeah, so that is my bust knitting for right now. All right, so I think we're going to move on now. Let's see. Oh, I think we'll move on to the pattern that I'd like to highlight. There's a special pattern that I'd like to highlight today. Many of you know Lily of Nordic Stitches podcast, and she is a tremendous knitwear designer, and she also does vlogs, and she has a podcast, and so she's just a really great person. And she has just come out with a beautiful pattern called Granny's Geraniums. And I'm going to show you the picture of it here, see if it comes through. This is the picture here. So it's this lovely, lovely shawl that starts out with a mitered square in the middle, and then it grows out from there. And the beautiful thing about this shawl is that for each pattern sale that goes out from July 1st, so now until the end of 2018, the pattern costs $6 US. $3 of that is going to go to cancer research. This is named in honor of her grandmother, who she actually never met. Her grandmother died before she was born, and she died of colon cancer. So this is a kind of a charity that's close to Lily's heart and close to many people, of course. And so she's put together this beautiful pattern, and again, it's lovely, and she's just raising money for cancer research, which is very, very important. So if you love to knit shawls, or you've knit some of Lily's patterns before, she did the shorty socks that I showed you there earlier, and I've done several of her patterns before. So she's just a great person, and she's doing a great thing in this and putting this pattern out there and raising money for cancer. So I just wanted to highlight that. So now let's move on to some swap information. Last time I podcast, I just kind of put it out there. I was wondering if anybody was interested in doing some kind of a swap for the summer. We haven't done a swap here at the Knitting by the Sea podcast, so I thought maybe this would be a fun thing to do during the summer. So I think we'll go ahead and try it. I got a lot of positive feedback, so let's go ahead and try it. And so what I will do is I will set up I'll set up a thread in the Ravelry group, the Knitting by the Sea podcast over on Ravelry. So come join. You have to be a member of the group to participate. And what I think we would like to do is to do a kind of a local swap. So basically kind of put together a little bit of a package that maybe says something about your local area. Do you have a local dyer that you'd like to include a skein of yarn from someone, or maybe some type of local fiber craft, maybe some food items, and maybe not chocolate during the summer, but some food items, and maybe that come from your area, just something along those lines. So whoever your swap partner is gets a really nice idea of where it is that you live. You can include some photographs. I would love for you to include a little bit of a letter or a card, kind of talking about the things that you're putting in your swap package, and just kind of, an opportunity to make a friend. I'm kind of purloining the idea from Louise of Caithness Craft podcast, audio podcast, and she just did a swap recently. It was just a stitch marker swap, but it was really fun because what she said was to just send stitch markers, but then go ahead and write a note or a letter, so you kind of have a little personal thing, and that was really fun and she and I were swap partners, so it was really fun. And I think each of us, when we wrote our letter and we got it in the mail and we're reading it, we could hear each other's voices as we were reading the letter. So that was really a lot of fun, and it's just an opportunity to maybe to get to know someone that maybe you wouldn't have necessarily. We do have international members in the group, so I think I'll put up a questionnaire, just a really basic questionnaire, so you can get an idea of the types of things that your partner might like, or have any particular allergies. For me, I'm totally allergic to Angora bunnies. I can't even go near them. I can't go near their fiber or yarn. So that kind of thing. And so I'll put up a questionnaire, and you go ahead and answer the questionnaire. And then I think what I'll try to do is to partner people up by, say, like mid-July sometime, July 15th, someplace along that range. I think I have vacation week that week, so that will be a good time for me to kind of sit down and take a look and partner people up. I'll let you know. You should contact your partner so you can have some, you can chit-chat a little bit beforehand if you'd like to. And then let's say we could get packages in the mail by the second or third week of August. That should give you plenty of time to kind of put some things together. I already have some ideas of what I would put in a swap package here from Marblehead. So I think that will be really fun. And let's see if we see what kind of participation we have. And I'm going to look forward to hearing you. So again, come on over to the Ravelry group, Knitting by the Sea Ravelry group, and join. And let's do a swap for the summer. All right, let's move on to some chatter. What has been happening around here over the last couple of weeks? A couple of things. I think the last time I podcast, we were just getting ready. We had to go through a membership interview for the Boston Yacht Club, which got pointing. It's out the window here. I've told you the house is literally like almost in the parking lot of the Boston Yacht Club. And we were invited to become members, and so we've gone ahead and done that. It was very pain-free. It was lovely. And so far, everyone has really been very, very welcoming and friendly, and we're really excited about it. They have a beautiful bar area. That's really, not that we're going to be drinking, but that's really what we'd like to do. It looks right out over the harbor, so we can actually go later in the afternoon. You can have a drink there. You can actually eat at the bar, which is really nice. They do have a lovely restaurant as well, and we'll do that. We'll do that sometimes too. They also have an outdoor area, so we've actually been over a couple times, it's really nice. It's actually fun. We had guests over for a weekend, and we took them there, and we got to sit out on the back on these lovely rocking chairs, just overlooking the harbor, which is just a great treat. And then they also have an outdoor area, which is much more casual, because they have a lot of they have a lot of races. They have Wednesday night races, so the public can come on Wednesday nights, but other nights they have the grill going, and they have an outdoor bar area and outdoor seating, and on a hot night it's really just really great. And we did that. Sophia had a friend over, and we went over and and had some burgers and beers outside, right by the water. So that was really great. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really going to be a fun opportunity for us. And we already know people who are members, and so that'll be really nice socializing for us. And again, we can just walk over and walk back. No driving involved if we have anything to drink, which is super, super, super nice. What else? Oh, I actually went to Austin, Texas last week, the week before, last week, which was a lot of fun. I had never been to Austin before. The big national financial aid administrator conference was held in Austin, in the Austin Convention Center, and we stayed right where the convention center is. So it's a very small area. The hotels were right within a block, and then so it was super a lot of fun. I got to meet up with a woman that I had worked with years ago, and it turns out that she works for a company that we contract with to do a portion of the work that we do, and we just started this contract this year with them, and then I discovered she worked for them, and it was like, oh my gosh, Amy. So I actually met up with her, and we got to go out to dinner and catch up, so that was really a lot of fun to do that. And and we had some really great Austin barbecue. Nice. No, it was different because it was all rubs. There wasn't any barbecue sauce on it. And we got to go to this really famous place for barbecue lunch. One of a consultant who also works for us lives in Austin, so she knows all the places to go. So that was a lot of fun to do that. So it was really nice. Unfortunately, on the way home, you can actually tell what I'm going to say here now from my voice. On the way home from that, on one of the flights, I was sitting next to a dad and a little boy who was probably about 6 years old, and the little boy had a massive cold. I knew when he started sneezing, I was a goner. I was totally a goner, and I was. So I took that flight on Wednesday, went to work Thursday, Friday. By the time I got home Friday night, it was all over. My throat was getting scratchy. I was out for the count Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I took Monday off as well because I couldn't do it. I had fever. I probably had a mild case of the flu. Oh my gosh, it was. I haven't been that sick in a long time, and I don't like it. I always say to my husband, you know, if I'm sitting on the couch and not knitting, that I am sick, that I just do not feel well, and I did not feel well. It's always the chance. At least it happened on the way home and not on the way to the conference, because that would have been horrendous. But so I'm still in a little bit of a recovery from that. You can tell a little bit in my voice, but hopefully that's now well behind me. We just had the 4th of July here in the United States. I'm really super lucky because 4th of July this year fell on a Wednesday, and Wentworth, the school I work for, closed down Wednesday, and they closed Thursday and Friday as well. So we actually have like a mini vacation out of it, which is really a lot of fun. Marblehead is super busy from Sunday to Wednesday, or for the 4 days before the 4th of July. They have a big 4th of July Marblehead Festival of Arts for the 4th of July. So it's very busy. There's tons of people here. Parking is at a premium. So it's just easy if you can get in and stay here and not have to get out at all. So that worked very well. They have they have all kinds of art. They have painting, they have photography, they have mixed media, they have kids art, they have street parades, and the biggest thing is that they have musical entertainment, and they have it right here. Again, I'm going to point right over here at Crocker Park, which is like, we'd consider it our backyard because we don't have a backyard in this house, but I would just consider Crocker Park to be our backyard. And they set up a big stage, and they have different music every single night. So Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then they have big fireworks. So every night it's different. You know, some night was rock, some nights was rock and roll, some nights was kind of bluesy stuff, some was folk. So they have a really interesting mix of musical groups, and it's just a beautiful venue because it's right up here on the in the park on the rocks, and you're just overlooking the harbor, and yeah, it's just really lovely in the breeze. And it's been so hot that it was really great to be up there because the breeze, at least you get some type of a breeze from the harbor, which was well needed. We had 2 friends of Sophia's over for the 4th of July, so that was really fun. We just grilled out in the back, and had some drinks and celebrated the 4th, and just went up and listened to the music. And then they also have what's called harbor illumination here, where all of the homeowners in the public places all along the harbor. So this is the harbor town. We live right on the harbor. And there's what's called a causeway that goes from Marblehead, and it goes across the harbor over to the area that's still Marblehead, but it's called the Neck. So when you look at the harbor, they have set up flares all the way around the harbor, and they set those off right before the fireworks, and every 4th of July. So it's called harbor illumination, and it's really beautiful. So you just look and you have these red flares all around the harbor, and it's all lit up. It's beautiful. They also have lights strung from the lighthouse out again on the Marblehead Neck, and the beautiful red, white, and blue lights are there. And then they have fireworks at 9 o'clock, and so and then they'll have music until about 10:30 or 11 again. So again, Sophia had some friends over, and we had a really fun little picnic. And then we went and listened to music, and we watched the illumination and got to watch the fireworks as well. So it was a really fun. Marblehead does a nice job for the 4th of July. And I think I have some video. Again, if this all goes well, I have some video of some of the festival that I can put at the end. It has been a very, very, very hot and humid. Doesn't always get this humid, and it just feels like you're just blowing around. Even if there's a breeze, sometimes it just feels like it's blowing around hot air. It's not really cool air. So thankfully we have one of the air conditioners up here in Sophia's room, so we can escape up here if need be. But we've been spending a lot of time outside. Sophia and I both have vacation coming up. We have one more week of work, and then we both have vacation coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that. We have some things planned. We're going to a Red Sox game. We're going to a podcast concert. It's just going to be a lot of fun things. So we'll be looking for that on both of our Instagram feeds. And I think that's probably it. Oh, I'll just show you. It's summertime, so this is the book I'm reading this summer. So this is by John Irving. It's called A Prayer for Owen Meany. Many of you, I'm sure, have read this book. I think it came out, 1989 someplace. It's been around for a long time. If you have not read this book, stop everything and go and get a copy. It is great. I'm rereading this. Our book club at school is reading this, and it's been a book that I read when it first came out, and I've always wanted to go back and reread it. So I'm really enjoying reading it, even though I know what happens in this. It is a book that I still think about. Literally, I read it probably back in 1989, 1990. So what is that? 20, 25. It's been a long time, and I still think about this book. I think about the characters. I think about Owen Meany. I just think about how John Irving put this together. And I always say to people, if you read this book, there will be some place that you have gone to, or that you will go to at some other time in your life, and you will never walk into this particular place without thinking about Owen Meany. And it's just such a good book. I can't recommend it more. It's been around for a long time, but it's one that if you haven't read it, you definitely should. And if you do read it, let me know. Or if you have read it, let me know. All right, I think that's it for today. I'm going to see what happens with this editing software, see if we can get this up. Don't forget, you can go ahead and push the subscribe button, and then you'll find out when I post up. I usually post up I don't know, maybe try to do it usually every 3 weeks or so, if I get the chance. But yeah, so come and, all right, well, cut out right at the end there. So again, thanks for watching, and don't forget, it's just knitting. See you next time. Bye. The beading and the tool that I use. So this is the Longbourn shawl pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, and I do add beads in the middle. I've changed up the pattern a little bit. There are a couple of cables, really beautiful cables, but I've decided to put beads in here instead. And I know some people have never done that before, so I just thought I would show you just a brief little video. So I have my yarn ready to go, and I have this little tool that I bought on Etsy years ago. I don't even know where I got it, but I think you can probably find something like this. It's just a very long, thin piece of metal, and it has just a little bit of a notch at the top here. It's not a full over, but it's just a little bit of a notch, so that's really where the yarn is going to catch. And then here, down here at the bottom, is where you just put on your beads, and it has a little loop so the beads can't fall off. And so you just pre-put the number of beads that you want on here. I just put a few. I'm just using clear beads in this project, so I just have a few here. And basically what you end up doing is that when you come to a stitch where you want to have the bead on it, you simply take your tool, you can see that little notch there, and pull up and off of the needle, and then pull it down so that the yarn catches within that little notch. And you take your bead, and then you just slip it over, see if this works, and pull the yarn through, and there your bead is all ready to go. You put that back onto your left needle, and then go ahead and knit that stitch. And there you go, that is already there. So in the next, in this particular pattern, I'm just going to knit one, and then I'll do it one more time. So I have this, and I'm going to take it off of the left needle, just pull it up so it just hits in that little bit of a notch, and just kind of hold it there. And then slip your bead right over, pull it through, and put it back on. And then you can go ahead and knit that stitch, and just move on from there. And there you can see I have my two beads, and they're beautifully placed, and they're right where they need to be, and they're not going to go anywhere. As I said, this is a really easy technique to do, and I just thought I would show you.